Hello, everyone, and welcome back. You are watching Beyond the Boundary Live. I'm Radha, your host, and as usual, today I'll be chatting with another leading figure in the women's game. Now, she is the captain of her nation's side, and through this quick conversation, she'll tell us more about herself, being a leader, and also preparations for the upcoming international fixtures. Mary-Anne Musonda, captain of Zimbabwe. Welcome to the show. How are you doing?
I'm okay. Thank you, Radha. Thank you for having me on the show. I'm doing well. I'm fine.
That's great. I heard you just came back from training. How was training?
It's quite intense. It's the weather is quite hot, and we're also trying to pick up the pace in terms of training. So it's been okay, just tiring for now.
So obviously, this is great news. We've got news that Pakistan's coming over to Zimbabwe. In fact, your first game starts in a couple of days. It's been a long break since you've played international cricket. The team must be raring to go and really excited, isn't it?
Yeah, they are. I mean, look, if you are a cricketer and you are supposed to go on, two sets of qualifiers, and you are unable to go for those qualifiers, the next game you come across, you're just so amped, you're so excited. So that's been the mood in the camp at the moment. Everyone is really excited to play, and Pakistan is the first time them coming to Zimbabwe, so we're really excited about that.
Right. So just taking a quick step back and looking at your journey as a cricketer, you've been the captain for almost 3 years now. I want to dive into a little bit into what it takes to lead a side and what your experience has been as captain.
Okay. Leadership is it's an exciting journey. I think when I became captain, I did not expect to become captain. I was just a senior player in the team. I just wanted to contribute, but I was humbled to be given the position. Luckily for me, most of the players I've played with them are in the team for quite a bit. So we already had a good relationship. We understood each other's game already. So it was just me now being a leader and just giving them a little bit of direction as well. So there's been challenges, of course, especially not being able to go for qualifiers, trying to carry the team emotionally, psychologically, it's not easy. So in that space, I've really tried to challenge myself and be there for the team, and to just keep encouraging them and motivating them, to tell them that, all these things might happen, but at some point we'll get game time, and that time is now.
Right. And as being a leader of a team, there's always this gap and there's a bridge that the leader has to sort of cover, which is the communication between the staff and the players. So how do you as a leader go about doing that?
I think from both sides, I try to communicate as clear as possible. Being a player and also having a position in almost like the technical team and other superiors, you try to make sure that the communication is, it's half and half, it's balanced enough for there to be a smooth relationship between the two. So it's a good dynamic for me. I have grown. Initially, it was quite tricky because I wasn't sure of how to communicate both with the players and the technical team and other superiors. But I've learned to, pitch ideas across the two parties, and to get the buy-in of both, and to resolve issues. And it's not easy, but you learn on the job, and it's been okay.
Yeah, so I was going to ask you, for any of the youngsters watching, leadership is not something necessarily that you're born with. You can also cultivate it and learn from experience and learn from growth. You would agree?
Yeah, I do agree. At times you don't know how it's done, so probably you should try have mentors. I have a couple of mentors, people I go to when I feel like I'm making mistakes, or I'm a bit down, or I'm confused about certain things, or I have to make big decisions. I have people who I go to for advice and counsel, and those people I'm really grateful for, because it's been quite hectic for me, I think, but they've really stood by me. They've given me confidence. I confide in them. So I think as a leader, first of all, you need to understand that it's not an easy job. You need mentors. But besides that, a lot of reading, a lot of watching what other captains are doing, not only captains or other people who are in leadership positions, how they, resolve conflicts, how they lead, the kind of leadership that you want to become, and also emerging with your own character. What kind of person are you? Are you a patient person? If you're not, you need to work on all those things. So it's almost like a daily job, daily task for you to become the leader you want to become. So yeah.
So obviously, there are a lot of challenges when it comes to leadership, but I want to ask you, what have been the most rewarding parts of leadership?
I think, well, in that, I could say that being able to influence people, I think it's such a huge, for me, it's such a huge positive. You don't get to influence people's ideas, people's characters, how people are going to conduct themselves. It's not every day that you have that privilege. So for me, it's the biggest thing. You can influence someone's day, just by having a conversation with them, telling them, no, we're trying to do this and this is how you're going to contribute. I think you should try this and this and this. Just inspiring other people. I think it's such a huge, huge thing for me.
Yeah, and you mentioned mentors, and you've had mentors, and I'm very sure that you are going to be a mentor if you're not already for the youngsters coming through. So, but another question I have is, as a leader, you have to try to hear out everyone's opinions and everyone's thoughts, but also you have to take those tough calls and those gut calls when the time comes to it. So, how do you sort of balance that out, where you have to take everyone's thoughts into account, but you also just have to make a decision at the end of the day?
Well, I can say that's the most difficult thing, because at the end of the day, everyone's opinion matters. Whether it's the most junior member of the team, the most senior, or the person you think, does not have the greatest of ideas, you have to still listen to them. So the biggest challenge will then be to integrate their opinions into the team's plan or the team's vision, what we're trying to do at that moment. Is it coming into play yet, or in a couple of years, couple of seasons? So first of all, just acknowledging that you're listening to them and then giving them feedback as to, do you think that their idea is going to be implemented there, or why not, or how their idea actually helped and stuff. So it's good to hear, 15 different opinions, then try to merge them together into becoming one team plan or making it a winning formula. So it's a good balance, just to process everything. Just take a moment, process everything, but still make sure that each and every player feels valued at the end of the day.
And I think a good leader has found that balance between the two things that you mentioned. Now, like sort of keeping Mary-Anne the captain aside and looking at Mary-Anne the player, can you maybe describe Mary-Anne the player versus Mary-Anne the person? Are they the same, or are they very different on and off the field?
Now, these days, it's quite confusing, to be honest. The only time I feel like I am Mary-Anne the player is when I'm batting. I think I just try to bat as a number 4 batter. And once I do that, the captaincy then comes later when I think, okay, there's an added responsibility. I need to carry my team in a certain way. Otherwise, when I'm fielding, it's all captaincy because I have to be making most of the decisions. But yeah, I try to bounce off ideas with the senior players as well, so that I can also remain Mary-Anne the player whilst I'm also fielding. So it's usually when I'm batting, I am myself. I really don't think I'm a captain. I try to do that so that I manage the pressure as well, because batting has its own pressure besides captaincy.
Yeah, and sometimes leadership troubles can also result to a lack in form. So it's good that you've been able to sort of compartmentalize that and categorize it. So just talking about cricket resuming in Zimbabwe, obviously the domestic T20 and one-day tournament. After such a big break, what was that experience like? I'm sure the players must have been desperately waiting for it.
They had been desperately waiting for it. Listen, when we were preparing for the qualifiers, for the June-July qualifiers, everyone was amped, and then all of a sudden in March, the pandemic broke out, and we then had to step back, and everyone was sending me messages, when are we going back? When's the next matches, domestic matches and stuff? And then for us to then be given 8 weeks of good cricket, domestic cricket, everyone came out guns blazing. Everyone was really waiting for that moment. And the 4 teams, wow, I think everything really came came gelled, everything came out very well. And the girls were excited. The performances were top notch if you were following. And I thought it was a good way of coming out of that, mentality of no, now we're not playing, and then now we're playing. So they really received it well. They really performed well. I think credit to Zimbabwe Cricket for giving us that opportunity. It was an exciting 8 weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. Credit to the board because not all nations had the privilege of resuming a domestic series. So it was great that Zimbabwe did that. Talking about now, obviously, the upcoming series versus Pakistan, what is the team composition like considering that there's been such a huge gap in international cricket for you guys? So are there some new faces coming in or similar faces from last time around?
Okay, so the composition is quite 75-50, so we've got the vets of the team, of course, the top order batters and some of the bowlers as well. We've got a 15, 16-year-old. She was one of the top performers in the domestic league. Kelly Sindlovu, left-arm seamer, left-arm batter as well. She's, when you're young, you're just bouncing off the wall in the changing room, and really that's her. So she's one. And then there are a couple of other guys. They have been on the cricket scene. So they are also part of the team, the likes of Francisca as well. So she has joined in. So the composition is really good. There's the experienced players and those that are not so experienced. So you always want that composition to really come together because it's not all the time that we have everything covered. They might have newer ideas that we don't know about. And to have them in the changing room, I think it's definitely going to help us.
Right. I think it's a great opportunity for the future as well to get that experience alongside the senior players in the squad. So I think you touched upon this, but just elaborating a little more, what's the mood like in camp? Because it must be people are just buzzing and ready to go.
Definitely. Okay, firstly, we are not used to the bubble, so it's the first time and it's a different experience. It's always wearing your mask and trying to talk and breathe at the same time. But besides that, about the game, people are really excited. It had been long. I mean, you really railing to play, and then it's Pakistan as well. One of the top ranked teams. So we're happy to be playing cricket again here because not everyone at the moment.
Yeah, no, talking about the bubble, it's obviously, it could get a bit overwhelming where you go out with the team on the field and then you come back and everyone's still stuck together. So has it been weird or are you just glad to be with each other and playing cricket again?
Yeah, we're glad to be with each other playing cricket again. Obviously, people have different ways of, finding their own space within the bubble, which is important. But, we enjoy each other's company. We're a team that talks and, discusses ideas. We fool around, we joke around, so it's the vibe is very good at the moment.
And talking about fooling around and joking around, we don't know too much about the inner workings of the Zimbabwe squad. So can you give us a little more insight into, are there a lot of pranksters around or the senior players sort of just very serious, or is it a good mix and good balance and everyone gets along?
I think the team, okay, there's one definite any day. She'll be jumping off walls. Tasmin Granger, quite an exceptional player. She's got a lot of energy on and off the field. So she's one prankster. She'll be giving every single person a nickname. And then you've got senior players who have their moments. When a senior player is having her moment, you can see, okay, now she's really excited. Otherwise, mostly people exchange. It's just like, okay, when someone is tired, someone will pick the other person up, or someone will crack a joke, or so it's a good mix. It's really a good mix. Yeah, I hope the world will get to know us better.
Exactly, and that's the aim of these live chats that we aim to do, is to get more exposure out to the different teams and the inner workings. Really, it's a great insight that you've given us.
Yeah.
I don't know if your teammates will be so happy that you're exposing them, but we're glad that you've shared a little secret with us.
I'll apologize later.
So talking about coming back to Pakistan, obviously you've mentioned that they're a top side. They're coming off a series of 5 defeats against South Africa. Do you reckon that's an advantage for Zimbabwe?
Well, we don't look at teams that way. We take a team as it is. I mean, South Africa is also ranked higher than Pakistan,
Yeah.
so their performance was also based on that. So we're not really complacent because they lost the series. They both series they here it's going to be easy. No, we want to play cricket based on our processes and our routines, the combination we're going to try implement, and then we'll take it from there. Really, for us, it's an opposition. We respect them. We want to compete, and that's what we're looking forward to.
Are there any players that you're specifically going to watch out for, or is it more of we do what we can best and then we see how the match goes from there?
It's half and half. Some players really performed well in South Africa, so we are obviously watching out for those. Otherwise, it's really most of it rests on us and what we can do, applying ourselves, and making sure we take the game to the end. Really.
Yeah, I think controlling the controllables is what everyone usually talks about.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's a perfect sort of plan going into any game or anything really in life. So, as a leader and as a senior member of the squad, what are you expecting from the girls to bring out on the field?
Okay, so what we really try to do is to make sure people enjoy, for starters. Once people enjoy their game, once they understand their roles and their abilities and their talents and what they can do, I think it's a good space for them to be able to express themselves better. So our roles in the team are very clear. So I'm just expecting the girls to go out there and play their roles to the best of their abilities and to compete and to leave everything on the field, such that when you sleep at night, you say, you know what, whatever the result, I played my part and I'm happy. So we just want to make sure that everyone is almost at the same place when competition starts, because it's only the first games towards the qualifiers. So we're not putting a lot of pressure on players. We just want to start preparing for qualifiers with a good mindset, healthy expectations for everyone. Obviously, senior players will have a whole lot more responsibilities more than anyone. So we try to make things as healthy as possible, at least for me as a leader.
That's perfect. So I feel like playing in your team almost just hearing you say that.
Why?
But
Yeah.
2021 is a big year for women's cricket. I mean, we have a bunch of qualifiers leading up to World Cups next year. So, okay, now
Yeah.
just keeping cricket aside for a little bit, I'm going to ask you a few rapid fire questions. So, obviously, athletes have a very strict diet when it comes to fitness and what they eat. So, what is your favorite cheat meal? Something that you just love eating?
Okay, before I talk about cheat meals, I love eating. I eat. I mean, after every meal, I'm always having snacks in between. But like, I can't exactly tell the world I like junk food. I can't do that. Only when I'm not competing. Only when it's not competition time. But I like eating. I do like eating.
So you are a batter, obviously. So here is another question: is if you could bat alongside any other batter in the world, past, present, who would it be and why?
Charlotte Edwards, any
Oh,
day, any day. I hope and pray I'll have an opportunity to just have a conversation with her. When it comes to playing, definitely, yeah, Charlotte Edwards is it for me.
oh, that's a great choice. I think you can't go wrong with that choice. And we'll try to relay this message back to her and hopefully set up something if that's possible.
Oh,
But
that's what it is.
all right. One last question then before we get to the concluding segment of this is, who is the toughest bowler that you've ever faced?
Toughest bowler. I'm trying to think. We played against India, and I think who was it Goswami? I think it was Goswami. Was it Goswami? I
Yeah,
think it
you
was.
and
Just tall, and I was like, "Oh, what's going to happen here?" So I think she's one of the most fierce bowlers I've faced. Yeah.
yeah, she's one of the treasures of India. And I was chatting with
Yeah.
Sophie Devine a couple of days ago, and she mentioned
Yeah.
Julan Goswami
Oh,
as the
really?
toughest bowler as well. Yeah,
Yeah.
she's got a great
Yeah.
reputation. It looks like. So, all right. So before we conclude this live chat, it's obviously been very enjoyable, Mary-Anne. I'm going to give you the opportunity to sort of the platform is yours for any young girls, boys within Zimbabwe, outside of Zimbabwe, anywhere across the world, there are a lot of people who look up to you, your team, and all the female cricketers as role models. So, any message that you have for all of them listening in?
Well, I've got a lot to say, but in a few words, I think cricket is an exciting game. Once you get the chance, pick up a bat, pick up a ball, and try the sports. I mean, it's fun. You can have a career out of it, and there are a lot of other opportunities within the cricket environment as well. So once you've got a passion for it, you need to go for it. You just need to be committed and give it your best. You never know where life will take you.
Perfect words. I think the best words to end this live chat on. Mary-Anne, it's been a pleasure having you on. It's been a great 20 minutes chatting. Hope you've enjoyed it as well.
I did. Thank you so much for providing such a platform. I think we are a women's team that don't really have a lot of coverage in the outside world. So thank you so much. I hope it's a first, and we'll get a whole lot more opportunities out there.
Absolutely. I think that's the entire aim of this. For anyone tuning in, thank you for listening to this chat. All the matches that are coming up between Zimbabwe and Pakistan, you can read all about it on Women's Cricket Zone. You can download the app as well. We plan to increase coverage whenever and however we can. So for everyone tuning in, thank you for watching Beyond the Boundary Live. It's been a good 20 minutes, a good way to spend my Sunday, in fact. So I've learned a lot. Hopefully everyone watching has as well. I'll see you next time on Beyond the Boundary Live. Thank you and have a great week ahead.
Thank you.